Working hard is cool, but what's the point? Design for me was a faraway dream, something that I would do if I had a second shot on life.
You have more than 7,000 followers.
I wasn't prepared for giving interviews and having so many followers on Instagram. People were just, okay, whatever, freelance is cool, but I hope you will find a real job. And I do not explain people the things that they are not ready to understand. Changed several places of living. Okay, I don't have money, now I will sit and cry about that. It's better having no friends than having toxic friends. It would be a corporate job that would give me a lot of money and prestige. I, honestly speaking, wasn't a fan of economics, and I was blaming myself, like I'm too lazy, cannot understand what I want to do in life if I will just sit on a couch and do nothing. At which point I am professional enough to do this. This is where my willpower comes in, and I'm ready to do whatever it takes to not get into this situation.
Welcome to my channel. Here I share interviews with inspiring people, stories of my travel adventures, and talk about business and esoterics. Hello everyone! Today I have a guest in my place. This is Dasha. Dasha is a professional full-time designer, but it wasn't the case just a year ago. Having economics background and completely different plans for her career, she fully changed her career path in just 1 year, 800 degrees. I think it will inspire many of you who also maybe feel lost in life and don't know how to change their current circumstances. Start doing what you love and on the terms that are comfortable for you. So
thank you, Samantha. Thank you for inviting. It's been a very interesting year. Actually, around these dates I can celebrate 1 year anniversary of my design path. So I think it's a very right moment to have a look how the year was and to make some analysis.
Amazing. So tell us, what are you currently doing in your career?
So right now I am a freelance brand designer. So I'm mostly working with different kinds of brands and helping them with their logo, brand identity, web design, and any type of creative tasks that they might need. That's in short.
Okay, and tell us about your background.
So I graduated from the same university as you did, the Home School of Economics, and I think at that moment I was a little bit lost in life, like I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I had quite a certain success picture that was there in my mind. I'm not sure from where it came from, but so I was kind of going with the flow, and I kind of knew what I was doing.
Just to clarify to everyone how we know each other, we are from the same university, SSC Riga. The bachelor degree is called Economics and Business, and we have also similar backgrounds because we are from the same school, from first gymnasium, and also similar reasons why we entered the university. So maybe you could expand on the story how you decided to study economics and business.
It's a good question. I think at the point where I had to make this decision, I didn't have a lot of options. I didn't have a lot of interests. I was doing professional ballroom dancing, and this was actually the only thing that I was really interested in. But at that point, a career in dancing didn't seem like an option, just because how you will earn money with that, you know. So SSC seemed like a safe choice. It was a popular school. My dad also graduated from it, so I heard a lot of good reviews about it, and I decided to apply. Also, like, I had never problems with maths and English, so I knew it should be okay.
So you applied basically because of the prestige of the school, because you didn't have many options, not necessarily because you were a fan of economics.
I, honestly speaking, wasn't a fan of economics, and I had no idea what economics was about. I remember, like, when we were preparing for this interview to get in, I was praying not to get any questions about economics because I wouldn't be able to answer them. I had zero understanding in politics or anything, but yeah, I still thought that it would be a good choice for me.
And how did you imagine yourself at that time? How would your career go after the university?
So I was thinking about an office job, of course, because my dad has a successful business in Riga, and I was always looking at him and imagining myself somewhere around his path. So maybe consulting, maybe marketing. I didn't know. I didn't know what I wanted, but I thought that it would be a corporate job that would give me a lot of money and prestige.
Like many students from our
Yes,
university. I think there is this illusion of working in a fancy office, going there every day, feeling that you're really cool. So tell me how your thoughts about your career developed during the university time.
Well, I cannot really say that I was thinking about my career at that point. I was just going with the flow. I didn't understand half of the things that we were studying there. Like, I studied them, but I didn't really understand what we were studying. There were some things that I liked more, studies like marketing and anthropology and stuff, but I didn't analyze how I would implement it in my future life. So I was just going with the flow. And I think when I graduated, it was the same. Like, I applied to one consulting firm in Riga, which was kind of popular, and I really wanted to get in because, again, of money and prestige, and this image of a hard worker and successful worker. I didn't get in, and I guess this is where the fun started, because I had to actually start to think about where I want to go, where I want to apply.
Tell me about the point when you started questioning your career path and what led you to design.
For the record, my both two corporate experiences were in B2B sales. The first one was I was a sales assistant in Schwarzkopf and Henkel beauty care, and the second one I was a customer success manager at Printful. I think, like, at Henkel from week one I understood that something wasn't working for me, but the problem was that I didn't have any work experience, and instead of trying to understand what wasn't working, I was blaming myself, like I'm too lazy or I'm simply not used to work. Like, hey, come on girl, you just have to do it, you don't have any other options. Then after this experience I understood, okay, corporate doesn't really work for me. It was too professional, too impersonal, and then I went to Printful, which was more like a startup experience. It was like SSE 2.0, a lot of hard work, a lot of partying, a lot of amazing people I met there, and I think it was one of the best experiences in that sense. But like still something wasn't working, you know. At some point you understand that money isn't really the motivator. Working hard is cool, but what's the point? Why are you doing it? So again, I felt like something wasn't working. I felt like I was feeling unhappy. I didn't know why. I didn't know what I'm going to do with it, but the feeling was just off. I wasn't happy at this point in life.
Was it the first time you started paying attention to your feelings about work?
I think another factor that helped me, that I was doing therapy at this moment, and I was kind of working on this, that I have to start understanding what I like. And it started with the small things, like how I like to spend my evenings, or the people with whom I really enjoyed communicating, or I was just used to communicating. And again, I think like when I was working at Printful, at that point when I was quitting, I still didn't understand what was going on and what I liked, but I already could understand the feeling that something was off.
I think it's very good that you thought about this feeling, because I think it should be one of the first indicators if you're not going in the right direction in life. It's that inner feeling that is saying, I don't like it here, something is wrong. And that's why it's so important to be in contact with your body, and so therapy was the thing that helped you, right?
Yes, like listening to yourself is definitely the most important thing, and sometimes when we are in a rush, when we are in this flow, we just forget to do that.
Tell me about decision when you decided to leave your last company you worked for. How did you feel? What was it like just going away into the unknown?
I remember the day very clear, like it was first day, and next day I was supposed to have this planning chat with my manager to talk about next year goals or something. And I was sitting at home, I was crying again, I didn't know why. And I just simply told my boyfriend like, hey, I think I'm going to quit tomorrow. And the decision came out of nowhere. I think it was like cooking inside me for some time. And he was like, okay, do it. And I think after I came to the boss and we had this chat, I felt relieved. And it was the first sign for me that I did something right. Because when you are doing the good things, you feel this pleasant feeling inside. I was going into unknown. I didn't have any plans what I was planning to do. I knew that I would get this support from the government for a couple of months, which would help me to understand at least the direction I wanted to go in. But otherwise, I had zero plans.
It's really nice how you again pointed out that once you said that you're leaving, you had this good feeling, finally.
Yeah, it's about inner feelings again.
Yeah, it's such an important indicator. Of course, sometimes our emotions, feelings can lie to us, but when you're connected to yourself, your body, your feelings, they know better than your mind, because mind often tries to find some rational explanation, but you're so young and you need some career experience, you should stay, it will be better or something, but it's so important to listen to your heart at that moment.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so you left the company, and then how you started doing the design?
So design for me like was a faraway dream, something that I would do if I had a second shot on life, because I thought that you cannot simply change your career and start doing something completely random, you know. You need bachelor, you need education, you need to do all the smart steps to become someone. And I remember my boyfriend, big thanks to him, he was like, but I think now it's the right time for you to try at least. And I quit the job on January 1st, it was my last day. And I think on January 7th I already enrolled into communication design program, which again was random. I just was searching through the internet. I found a program that I really liked. It was a long one for a year and a half. And I decided to try, like, why not? I cannot understand what I want to do in life if I will just sit on a couch and do nothing. So I decided to give it a shot. And it worked.
Well, so the first thing you tried and it actually worked, right?
Yes.
And I think here very important is that you immediately tried. So there was less than a week between the point you left the company and the point when you started learning the design. Because what many people do is that they sit, do nothing, and just think what I could be doing, what is my talent, make tests, go to astrologists, and never actually try physically doing something.
Yeah. That's true. Like, I think I'm just also a kind of a person that I'm never bored. I have a list of things I will do in case I have nothing to do. And that's cool. Like, from doing these small things, you can also learn something about yourself and what you really like.
Maybe do you have any suggestions for a person who would be in the same situation? Person just quits some job or thing in their life, but they don't have this impulse that they know what they want to do. Maybe you have some advice. How can they figure it out?
I think the best suggestion is to start asking yourself questions like, what are the small things that you really enjoy doing? How would you spend your Friday evening in case you wouldn't have any obligations and plans, you know? Because society pushes us a lot of things, and it's very important to start separating what the society is telling you to do and what you really want. So ask yourself questions, try to remember what are the small things that you really like. Maybe that's singing, maybe that's dancing, maybe you really like coding or something. Maybe you thought that in another life you will become a musician, you know. So, and giving a shot for the small things is I think, the best way to understand whether it's your thing or not.
How many time had passed since you found your first client in design?
I think I found my first client in January already, like at the end of the January. I reached out to my ex-client at Printful. I knew that he might need some creative help in design/marketing. We had a good relationship, and I decided to give it a try. Why not?
Okay. So you reached out. You were proactive. You
Yes.
weren't waiting. And how did you have this confidence to reach out so soon? Because you probably didn't have that much knowledge in design.
I think it's an ongoing struggle, which is still inside me. Every time you do something, you're like, at which point I am professional enough to do this or to say this or to reach out to a client or to post something, and you will never know until you try. I think in especially in creative fields, but I think in any field you just need to try and practice. I was kind of expecting to hear no for an answer, and it was okay. I was ready for that, but it worked again.
That's amazing that you didn't have big expectations. You knew that you would be okay if everyone would say no, but you still tried. You weren't afraid to do a mistake, to fail in some way. And so, how then you find the other clients?
So I tried a lot of ways. Like I tried on different freelance platforms, Upwork, Fiverr. I started telling people around that I was doing design. Nothing really worked. On these platforms, the competition is high, the payment is very low, and I simply wasn't ready to spend so much energy on that. I was like, I will better spend this time studying. So I think the clients started arriving when I started doing my social media. Most of them, and then it really started working, which was again a very big step for me to put myself out and to start telling people like, hey, I'm doing this officially now. Because again, who am I to do this? Am I professional enough to do it? But again, it worked, and you're always expecting the worst things to happen, the worst things that people will tell you, like your designs are very bad. But till now, the experience has been mostly positive. It worked.
So, from what I heard, you had this imposter syndrome. Then you were also afraid to share to people that now you are a designer, right? A lot of difficult feelings, I would say, to process and go through. What helped you to overcome these feelings and still keep going forward?
I think I tried to rationalize my emotions, and I was like, okay, girl, if you're not going to do this right now, what are your opportunities? You will not have any clients. You will need to find a corporate job, which I really didn't want. I didn't want to be stuck in another corporation or something. I wanted to do this for myself. So I understood that whether I like it or not, I have to do it, and it will be scary. It's still scary sometimes. Like I'm doing something, and I'm like, why? And but I think once you start going out of your comfort zone, this is where the development happens.
The first steps are the hardest, right?
Yes, that's true. Then when you're doing it for the second and for the third time, it's already okay.
For beginner designer, there are two paths that they can take, as you told. One is that you can apply to some platforms, Fiverr, Upwork, and present yourself there, but there's a big competition, low fees. And second option is developing your own social media and basically creating a brand of a professional designer.
Yeah, or going to corporate job.
Or also going to corporate, but we're not looking at that.
Okay.
Somehow I assume that those people who are watching this channel strive for freedom-based lifestyle. Could you describe the people for whom Instagram would work and for whom would these platforms work?
I honestly, from big successful designers that I have also seen on Instagram, I haven't seen any of them really succeeding in these platforms. maybe this was also the circle I was in, and like, because again, it requires a lot of energy. Remote jobs are quite popular now, so the competition is very high. You need experience to start there, and you cannot get experience without experience. I would say that I wouldn't even recommend focusing on them. So like trying them as well, something in parallel, it was always good, like having diverse experience is good. But social media in any sense, it's also can be like your portfolio. So even if you're not getting clients directly from it, you can show people, like you can come to your friend and tell, hey, I'm a designer now. The first question is, show me your works, and you can show your Instagram. So this is how it works, yeah.
Let's talk about a topic that will also interest many beginner designers or even just any service providers, about pricing. How do you set prices? And if you can share maybe what were your prices in the beginning. Did you do it for free, or you still ask some money? At what point you decided to increase your prices?
That's a sensitive topic. Because pricing in the creative industry is sensitive, and people, like, it's easier to give a value to material things rather than beautiful pictures, because it's subjective. Whether you like design or not, it's always subjective. So I never worked for free even in the beginning, because I believe there should be some energy exchange, and when you are doing something for free, people do not appreciate it enough. The prices were lower, of course, but even now, like if we speak about branding, and if you are setting up a price, it highly depends on your experience, how much time you will need to do that, your personal brand, how strong is it, like if people are coming specifically to you for your style, your availability at this point, like how many other projects you have. Yeah, and just in general, you should also understand that there will always be a professional who will charge $20, there will always be a professional who will charge $100, so it's up to you also to decide. You just need to find your right clients. So summarizing this up, there are a lot of factors. Yeah, another factor is that pricing also depends on the company you are working with, because for a small bakery store and for a big finance company, the impact of design will be different, so therefore you cannot really charge them the same thing. It's about learning, understanding how much you want to earn, and getting this confidence and experience.
As you told, there can be really different ranges of prices, from 20 to 100 to 1,000 euros probably per project. Is it useful to look at the average market prices in design?
It can be useful, but again, you should understand that if you're doing digital work and it's worldwide, it's quite difficult to understand this medium price range, because designers are also working from different parts of the world and they have their needs. For me, I was concentrating on how much I wanted to earn, because I also had to pay my fees and to pay for my life, so I knew that there was some kind of a bare minimum that I need to survive, and I cannot go below.
I think it's very nice to set the standard for yourself, that I value myself. I know that I want to earn this much per month, even in the beginning. So you will not go below that threshold. Even maybe in the beginning you will need a bit more time getting that client, but you're not betraying your inner self-value, as to say, and not focusing on what my neighbor designer is doing, but focusing on how much I value my work. And as you said, for every price there will be a customer, right?
Yeah, that's true.
How to create your first portfolio when you don't have clients?
Well, you will most probably do some kind of work during studies, so these are your first steps. Another thing that is usually highly recommended is to start doing passion projects. Like, for example, if you want to do brand design, and if you want to do it for small startups, imagine your perfect client, do this project from scratch. It will help you create your first portfolio case. It will help you practice. It will help you understand how much time do you need to do this type of work. And there are usually also a lot of small things that you will not consider while you're doing for the first time. So it's a very good experience in any case. And then afterwards you can place it on social media, on Behance or anywhere to showcase it to your clients.
So you should choose a real company, right?
Yeah, or you can choose a real company. For example, you're near by bakery and do rebranding for them, or you can come up with just a random one. Like, how would your perfect client look?
Should you also tag that bakery afterwards?
I think I did this type of, I did illustrations once for a small bakery in Warsaw, and I tagged them and they liked it. Like, I was like, why not? If they like it, they might become my customer.
Yeah, maybe they will reshare you and you get also some visibility.
Yeah, why not? Social media is made for that.
Yeah, so good suggestion. I also wanted to talk about the thing that in creative field there is a sort of belief that you should have a talent to paint, to sing, to design. Do you believe that you need to have a talent?
I think that talent can definitely help you and maybe in some kind of sense develop faster, but I personally more believe in hard work, because if you spend time practicing, you can learn anything.
So you can even have no sense of taste, but it can be developed with time.
Yes, I think everything can be developed, and for design specifically, you do not need to draw. You do not need to understand anything. If you get into the right study program or find the right mentor, you can learn anything. And if you also are open enough and really want to learn.
Okay. Good news for everyone.
Yes.
So you have economics background. For 3 years you are studying it really hard, I know. Wasn't an easy process. How has that background helped you currently now in your design career?
Well, I think there are several ways. Like, I personally believe there can be never bad experience if you learn from it. So definitely our experience helped me to understand how to monetize what I'm doing. So I have some kind of structure in my head, what steps I need to take and how I can grow this. Definitely marketing, because as a self-designer I have to promote myself, and if I'm not doing everything right now, I still have an understanding what I will be doing once I grow to the size of an agency, etc. Internal structure, processes, optimization, working hard, and yes. And another thing I think is also important, that when I'm dealing with different types of companies, I can understand what are their internal structures. So for me, in that sense, sometimes it's easier to create a design because I have done marketing myself, so I can understand what can be the focus for that. Or I have done presentations for clients myself, so I understand how design can help or how it can be more useful.
Okay, so it's useful, the education.
Yeah, there can be never bad experiences if you learn from that.
If you could right now talk to your younger self who just finishes her 12th grade, what would you suggest to that young Dasha? Would you suggest doing what she's doing, applying to university? Would you suggest wait a bit? Like, what would you say to her?
I think everything comes in the right moment. So if I wasn't ready, most probably like I wasn't ready to become a professional designer that sells. And I guess the recommendation is just to learn from the experiences that you are getting, even in the worst moments. There's definitely something that you can get out of it and learn. For me, the path has been great. I learned how to be independent, how to live separately from my family, how to understand my interests. So yeah, learning and being open-minded is definitely my main recommendation.
Okay. And if you could go back in time, would you still go to the same university?
Yes, I would. Like, I think I wouldn't have any other options again back there, because my parents were kind of not considering the Latvian state universities. I wasn't ready to go abroad, so SSC was the only safe choice. And as I said, I met a lot of amazing people there. I made a lot of amazing connections. It gave me good understanding how business works, so it was definitely worth it.
You slightly touched upon your parents, that they were also quite strict about how your career path should look like. And could you maybe elaborate more what was their reaction to you stepping away from their desired career path, and in general dealing with maybe some judgment or not understanding from external world?
I think, like as I said, I was expecting a lot of much more negative emotions towards myself, and big thanks for everyone having these emotions, keeping them to themselves, because I actually didn't get so much hate or judgment that I was expecting. I still had it in my head though, and I was kind of expecting people to say that, but they didn't, which is cool. Speaking about my parents and friends, I think at that point I didn't ask anyone, so this was one of my first decisions where I just did, and I was like, hey, by the way, I'm doing this. And when you don't ask, people don't tell you anything, and that's cool. Of course, the amount of support wasn't as big as I would want it to be. Like, my boyfriend is my biggest cheerleader, big thanks to him, because without him I wouldn't be able to go through so many things. Otherwise, people were just, okay, whatever, freelance is cool, but I hope you will find a real job. And yes, so it was challenging. Sometimes I was frustrated, and people made me sad, but it also made me stronger and made me more independent. Like, I don't need to rely on people and their judgments to become someone.
Mm-hmm. What is your strategy in dealing with these comments? Did you try to explain, no, freelance is actually a job, or you were like, okay, yeah?
I do not explain people the things that they are not ready to understand, so it's like, why would I do that? And I think eventually I just started communicating less with this kind of people, and they just go out from your life, which is also cool. Like, at one point you understand that it's better having no friends than having toxic friends, but of course I do have friends, for the record. But yeah, it's also good to change your circle and understand who are the people you really want to be with.
So interesting. So since you started this different career path, also there were some changes in people who were around you. Yes, some maybe went away, some came in. Maybe there were some like other transformations during this year.
Well, I guess the biggest transformation that was going is that we changed several places of living. And it definitely sometimes it was helping. Like, for example, when we moved to Warsaw, I didn't have a lot of friends there, and I could spend all the time studying. Sometimes you feel lonely, but it's interesting how once you start changing your life, a lot of different things can happen. And I remember myself 1 year ago, we were in Budapest, and I remember that I had no idea of all these things that will happen in my life, like becoming a designer, going to Bali, no. But yeah, so once you really open your heart and once you are ready to get into these new experiences, a lot of cool things can happen.
Mm-hmm. Traveling is also another interesting point. Was traveling and working also one of your dreams at one point?
Yeah, you know, I wanted to try it. Like, this digital nomad thing, it sounds so fancy and it's so popular right now. I personally think that there are a lot of negative sides to that part of life, but still it's very cool. Yeah, and I'm very happy for this experience. I think it's mind-blowing and it's definitely transformational and opened my eyes for a lot of things.
Can you imagine yourself going back to corporate world and being obligated to go to the office?
I can. If tomorrow all my clients disappear and nor my boyfriend and I have a job, or something bad happens, of course I can imagine a case where I would need to go back to Riga and start going to the corporate job, and I think I would find some kind of a job. The question is whether I really want to do it, and of course I don't, and this is where my willpower comes in, and I'm ready to do whatever it takes to not get into this situation. So putting myself out and doing a lot of things to get out of my comfort zone.
Okay. Let's talk about Instagram. So Instagram is your main platform for advertising your services, yourself. Tell me, how did you decide how you will appear on Instagram? Did you think that you want to create your personal brand, or it will be more like a portfolio? How did it all started?
I started my first page for my custom illustrations back in April, and I knew that it will be a lot of learning. So my main idea there was to see what others are doing and to try to recreate it in my way. I think when I started this second page in design, I thought that it will be something about traveling and design. Then I changed it to mindfulness in design. Then there were a lot of different changes. I'm still figuring it out, and I have no idea how I should position it better. But it's a lot of learning and it's a lot of experiment. I think this is what social media is about. There is no right way how to do it, and it's interesting.
Do you believe that anyone can start social media and feel good doing it and promote their business there?
Well, of course, it's free to use. It's just, it comes with a lot of hard work, and people very often they underestimate it. They're like, oh, another blogger just putting their stories and posting nice pictures, but it's much more about that. It's a lot of strategy and a lot of understanding how you really want to position yourself. So a lot of hard work actually there. Every small post come with a lot of research beforehand.
So right now you have more than 7,000 followers. How did you get it? Share your secret.
Well, there was some kind of luck, I think, because it's social media. You never know how the algorithm actually works. But there was a lot of hard work, as I said. So at one point, I had some free time. I knew that I need to grow my brand, and I started posting consistently. So I had a schedule. I had topics that I wanted to cover. I was thinking how I should mix it. I was thinking how I should film better reels, like learning from the others. So and eventually it showed results. Like at first my reels were getting like 100 views or sometimes 3 views, and of course I got sad, but I knew that if I consistently do it, it will show results. So nothing happens in a matter of day, but if you do it consistently, then it will work.
So you continued to do even when you had like really low views, you still kept doing it?
Yes, that was the main strategy. Now I kind of stepped back a little bit because I need to understand what I have to do with this right now. Also from the Instagram growth, I got a lot of more new clients. So now my next step is to understand how I can scale this organically, not to burn out, and to continue the engagement, because now the audience came, but I need to understand what to do with them because they are kind of expecting some kind of content from me. So it's interesting.
Yeah. Just to clarify, basically right now your January is full, right? You don't have any free spots for your services?
Yeah, I think for February as well.
That's amazing. Just in 1 year, guys.
Yeah.
Could you tell about your further plans for your Instagram, for your business as a whole? What is your vision?
I think it will be an agency. I'm planning to hire someone to help me soon because I feel like I'm struggling already. Definitely continue developing my Instagram. Like I had a small break right now, but I see that I need to push it further. So in the finding balance between all of this, like the main goal for me was to work for myself and not to be overworked. Now I'm losing this balance a little bit, and I need to understand how I can make this work. I'm definitely planning to study more, maybe taking mentorships or something, because learning from other people is always an amazing thing. And continue working. I love how the business is taking its new spins. I'm getting different clients from all over the world, and it's amazing. It's very cool.
Wow. And so what are the struggles on the way to this?
Well, I guess the main struggle on freelance and building your own business is that there is no one way how you can do it. There is no book that you can open which will tell you the exact steps to do. And it's difficult, so there are a lot of things that you need to figure out yourself. I'm happy that I have my father and my family who can give me some kind of knowledge about that, but still there are a lot of questions on the map. And like, when do you need to hire, how to register your business, how to pay taxes if your client is from Australia, and all this stuff. Like, it's difficult. And also imposter syndrome, and also some, of course, negative comments coming your way. So I'm expecting them to come at some point.
Waiting already.
And so I think it's a very interesting journey because I'm doing it for myself. I don't have a plan how I'm going to do it, and there's a lot of experiment on the way.
And what is your biggest motivation in all of this? Is it because it's just super fun and interesting? Is it money? Is it some fame, success you want to get?
Money, of course, is a motivation. Like, I would lie if I would say I'm not interested in that. I tried not being interested in that when I didn't have it. But eventually you understand that if you want to travel and if you want to live a normal life, you still need money. So money, yes. I want to build something of my own. This is something that I can see myself. If I'm not going to corporate, should be something that I'm building. And I think it's it right now. Like, I didn't have any interest in fame or something. I wasn't prepared for giving interviews and having so many followers on Instagram. No, it's very awkward for me.
During this year, while you were building your business and didn't have any stable income, were there any points that you felt that you really lack money and have this anxiety?
Yeah, there were. I think one of the last months was when we came to Bali, and it turned out much more expensive than we thought. And of course the anxiety was there. Like, at some point you're like, I don't need this money, especially here. Like, you don't need to have this fashion clothes and to have this success picture every day. So anxiety was there. What helped me, I guess, being consistent and not giving up. Like, at the points when I didn't have so many clients or I didn't have so much work to do, I still woke up every day and I had a certain plan what I'm going to do today. I'm going to learn a new thing to become a better designer. I'm going to plan content for social media to show myself. So it wasn't like I was like, okay, I don't have money, now I will sit and cry about that. No, I was always like doing something, and these moments, I think, became the biggest motivation for me to do something.
Thank you for sharing. I know it's a bit like private, but I'm asking because I had these moments myself as a beginner entrepreneur with my business, and I'm sure most of the people who don't have some kind of money inflow from the second person family or someone who can at points feel very unstable, really anxious, because when we start lacking this money, we don't have the stability, our survival instincts switch on, and it's really scary. We have this fear as if we are in ancient times and we will be killed like very soon.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's also part of the journey of learning, of understanding that you will always figure it out, that you will always have the money eventually, and then again you keep going, as you said.
Yeah, that's true. And at this point, I also understood that I don't need so many things. Like, I remember myself a year ago or whenever, when I was working at a stable job, my salary was coming in. I was like, let's do some online shopping, or let's buy a cool gift for myself, or, I was doing a lot of useless stuff, and money was there, but I wasn't really appreciating it. And when I didn't have it, I was like, okay, I can survive without monthly shopping, and it's fine. You don't actually need that, because it's not what really interests me, and it's not what really matters to me. So money is a big motivator, but you understand that it usually brings short-term pleasure rather than long-term satisfaction.
Maybe some last piece of advice to someone who's starting out their business or their journey as a designer. What would you suggest to them?
Design is a very broad sphere, so I think it's the most important thing is to understand what actually you want to do. Try out different types of design, maybe enroll into small courses and see what type of design you want to do. Is it branding, web design, communication design, or something else? Next, having good background and understanding of design basics is also important. So you will most probably need to enroll in some kind of program, even if it's not bachelor, but something more long term. I think is good, because you can become a good professional in 1 month or in 2 months, and in 3 months this will be an ongoing journey. And understanding that there is no easy way to become a good designer is also important. It's also good to surround yourself with supporting people, because changing your career and switching to someone that people cannot relate to is difficult. So finding community, finding a mentor. For me, the social media became a very big step, because I actually started meeting a lot of designers here, and that's cool. And not being scared, trying not to get into these judgments of other people, and to pursue your dreams. If you think that it's yours, then who cares with other things?
Okay, could you tell us what are you currently offering as a service?
Yeah, so if you are a brand or a personal brand, or anyone who needs to elevate their business, I'm currently proposing whole brand design package, starting from logo to brand book to packaging design to web design or whatever you might need. I'm also planning to start doing mentorship in design, so in case you're a junior designer or you are just starting out, we can work together. And since I'm planning to hire, this will be like the first announcement. I'll be looking for a junior designer / personal assistant who will help me with the ongoing projects, whom I will of course mentor as well, and it will most probably be a part-time thing. So if you're interested, there will be my Instagram somewhere here. Feel free to approach me. The position is not open yet, but we can definitely talk about that.
Wow, I think it's incredible story. You told how just a year ago you just started your design journey. Now you're hiring people, you have mentorship program, you're working with international brands, and your designs are honestly really, really good. I really like your style. I even showed it to some of my friends, and they're like, wow, she's just not so long in design, but already very nice, unique style you have. So
thank you.
I think you'll have a really bright future.
Thank you.
Thank you for participating in this interview and sharing your story.
Thank you. I really hope that it will inspire someone.
Okay, thank you everyone. See you in the next interview. Bye.
Bye-bye.